LBR LBO Infrastructure Summit 2016.
Good morning, everybody. I take you to one of the main news items last week. That was Sampo Power Project, one of the main projects, infrastructure projects that were supposed to deliver a lot of power to Sri Lanka was terminated. That was the news last week. It started in 2006 with two governments, India and Sri Lanka, signing an agreement. And a decade later, it ended, even without going for tenders for construction, even without finalizing the finance, but only with the conditional environmental approval and the land. So a decade is lost here. So this is the issue we are facing right now in infrastructure implementation, infrastructure project implementation. So let me look at this issue, which is not only particular to Sampur Power, but it is common to almost all the projects that we are talking about. So one of the main issues that we see here is the multiple agency involvement in infrastructure projects, the managing the multiple agencies in implementation of infrastructure projects. Now, if you look at these projects, you have implementation agencies, then we have agencies responsible for land, agencies responsible for environment, then there are multiple regulatory agencies involved, and there are local government involvement, financiers, security, and other agencies where these projects should require to use the assets of other agencies, and also many stakeholders, affected parties, and lobby groups. To make it more, the complexity is more when you look at, if you take even one here, for example, environment, you have multiple agencies, like marine agencies, the Coast Conservation, Central Environmental Authority, regional environmental authorities, archaeology. So it's very complex, very complex. So this is one important aspect that we need to take into consideration in implementation of these mega infrastructure projects. Unless we have a mechanism, we have a plan, and we have the skills to manage seamlessly the multiple agency involvement, then we will have issues such as what happened to Sampo. So this multiple sector involvement arising out of two things. One is through overlapping jurisdictions. For example, there can be overlapping jurisdictions with the central government and local governments, or jurisdictions over different aspects of the same infrastructure projects. That is the key reason why multiple agencies come into play in these infrastructure projects. For example, land, environment, regulatory, where all these agencies have different the jurisdictions over different aspects of the same projects. So getting all the agencies support and getting all the agencies' involvement in the right way at the right time is a key concern that we have at the moment. Since there are a lot of mega projects, as Sumedha pointed out, there are a lot of mega projects are in line. We don't need the same fate that affected Sampo to affect those. So managing these multiple agencies are a real challenge. So the other aspect of this multiple agency involvement is the ownership issue. The ownership issue emanates from the initiation agency and the implementation agency. So what about the other agencies? Do they own the project? What are their roles? Only the implementation agency is the key here? These are the issues that we need to discuss, we need to address if we are to get these projects implemented on time. That's the key concern. Then Other important aspect is the integration approach. If you look at these projects in isolation, if you look at Sampur in isolation, if you look at megapolis in isolation, then we will have issues. So because all these projects need interconnection to other facilities, other agencies, other infrastructure. So use of other facilities by other agencies and other infrastructure is key here. So not only the involvement in implementation of this project is important, but also the interconnection to other facilities, other infrastructure of other agencies are also important in getting these projects on time. So, other important aspect that I want to touch, because this is a very short presentation, was are the mechanisms and skills to manage multiple agency involvement. Now, what are the mechanisms that we have in integrating multiple agencies in these mega projects? For example, what are the mechanisms we have in integrating multiple agencies in megapolis? What are the mechanisms we have in integrating multiple agencies in projects like Sampur or any other big project? What are the mechanisms we have in integrating multiple agencies in Port City? Those are the issues that we need to address. The mechanisms must be there to address the multiple agency issue. And the main mechanism, as I see it, is the overarching plan for the country. If you look at or take it as a single project, planning a single project will end up with issues on multiple agencies. And the last one is the skills in integrating multiple agencies in infrastructure project. I think you will be talking about the talent gap and various other aspects of this later, but managing multiple agencies in implementing this infrastructure is a key skill that we need to cultivate, we need to train people, and we need to ensure that such talent is available in this country in order to get these mega projects on time, on budget for the country. Thank you very much.
LBR LBO Infrastructure Summit 2016.